Hello, so thanks for joining me again and welcome back to the channel. So what's inspired this video today is really about the number of LLMs that are just being released as open source LLMs now. I think there are pretty much thousands out there, and yes, fair play, some of them are fine-tuned on foundation models, but you really don't know where to go with a lot of these LLMs now. There's just so many out there, and if you go on Hugging Face, you'll see tons on those repositories and most available to you for free. What I find particularly interesting, though, are the benchmarks for assessing or evaluating the performance of those large language models. What we can see with those benchmarks is a lot of them are kind of based on logical reasoning, mathematical reasoning, question answering. And there's even leaderboards on Hugging Face where people can post their LLMs and see how they score against other large language models when it comes to the benchmarks. But I feel something's missing from those benchmarks, and it's hard to put your finger on, but there's not really anything that's measuring creativity of LLMs. And you might not think that's important at first glance, but when you start looking at some of the applications of large language models, when we start stepping into creative domains, we don't necessarily want the model that is, really good at math, for example. Imagine you want a model to generate some music. You want something that can be a bit more creative and a bit more fluid. So how do you assess that creativity? Now, granted, some of these benchmarks, and you can see some of the benchmarks I have here on screen, some of them might actually correlate with creativity, but creativity is such a kind of fluid and loose thing, and it's not really quantitative, it's more qualitative and subjective, that we can't even start comprehending the extent to which some of these benchmarks will correlate with creativity. The other thing to note here is that all of these benchmarks on screen all came before ChatGPT. So they were used to test models that were essentially nowhere near as good in terms of capability. So we're talking about, things like text completion models that we used to use back in the day, nowhere near as good in terms of capabilities as ChatGPT. So why am I saying all of this? I'm saying this because it really gave me an idea. And that idea was, what if there was a way to kind of test the creative capabilities of large language models? And I thought back to my time. I thought back to my favorite music genre, which is hip hop. I listen to a lot of hip hop, and sometimes I actually enjoy the rap battles as well. And there's a lot of creativity displayed in rap battles. So I don't know if any of you are kind of familiar with rap battles yourself, but there's tons of creativity displayed there. The ability to think on your feet, the ability to kind of use the opponent's lyrics against them, rhyme in different ways and put together complex rhyming schemes and flows. It is a fairly creative endeavor. So what I decided to do was using AutoGen, take some open source large language models and pit them against GPT-4 in a rap battle. And I did 4 rounds of this. Apologies, I did 3 rounds of this with different models. So the first one I used was Mistral. So it's a Mistral 7B Instruct, and I put that against GPT-4 Turbo. So that's the smallest of those models. The next model I used was the Orca 2 13B, and that was pitted against GPT-4 Turbo again. And then the final model I used was the largest, which is the Wizard LM 70B, and put that against GPT-4. And I've run this through AutoGen using an agent workflow, and it's just do a rap battle. Brought it to life using the OpenAI text-to-speech API, which I think is pretty decent. So I'll be playing that shortly. What I would like to do before playing that is just walk you through the notebook really quickly so you get a feel of how I've done this from a technical perspective, and then we'll move on to the rap battle itself. As always with my videos, there will be a technical blog that accompanies the video, and it'll give you a little bit more detail and also some of the insights that I'd like to share on, what we can learn from doing large language model rap battles, and why I believe it's an important thing to have some qualitative measures of creativity in large language models. Okay, so hopefully you can see the notebook on screen. So the notebook is, there are 2 main scripts in this project. There's the notebook and there's another file. It's just a pure Python script. It's called speak.py. I've created a GitHub repository for this project as well with a README, and that README does give an explanation of how to set things up. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is going to be very brief because this follows a similar style to some of the other projects that I've already done on YouTube that go into a bit more detail about, how AutoGen works and how to deploy your open source models to work with AutoGen. So please check those videos out. I'll link them in the description. Okay. So essentially what I've done is I've set this up to run with 4 different models, and I'll just warn you ahead of time, some of them don't work that well. So the Llama 2 70B model doesn't work that well. And if you can figure out how to get that working, that would be fantastic. But it's essentially because of the template. I wanted to run it with the Yi model, and that doesn't work too well either. And I couldn't figure out why that was, and just eventually ran out of time. But it does work with the other models. So it works with Mistral, it works with Wizard, and it also works with Orca. So essentially you're setting up the open source model up here, and you'll need to have your own RunPod API up there, or you'll need to have a way to call your local model into AutoGen as well. So if you haven't already, I implore you to check out my video on how to deploy open source models on RunPod so that you can use it with this script. So that's all we're doing here. And then we're setting up prompt templates. So this is, there's a messages.py file as well that has some prompt templates in there. You don't need to mess around with those. If you want to add a different model in, then what you would do is you'd add the facts about that model. So all I've done is I've gone to the papers where the papers exist for those models and taken the abstract and the conclusion and put them in as a rough knowledge base, or a rough in context knowledge base about those models. So when GPT-4 is doing a rap battle against those models, it has some information about them. Just to show you what the messages.py file looks like really quickly. So there's prompts here as well, and these are pretty much static, they don't change. And yeah, there's some information about GPT-4 Turbo, so that the open source model has that information about GPT-4 Turbo and it can use it in the rap battle. Great, and then the rest is pretty straightforward. You just set up your agent workflow as you normally would in AutoGen. So I'll show you where that is done. So yeah, you set up your agent workflow as you would do in AutoGen normally, and then you set it to run, and then voila, the rap battle goes on ahead. And you create, that saves a file down, and it's a JSON file. And that'll be saved in your directory if you clone this, and it's called specific conversation _ data. And then that is read in by speak.py. And what speak.py is, it takes that and it identifies the different flows of the rap battle and assigns different voices to each character in the rap battle, and creates an MP3 file that is obviously calls the text-to-speech API in OpenAI and creates that MP3 file. Okay, so I have set this rap battle up to have a judge. I haven't included the judge in the actual in the video that I'll show you, the rap battle rendering that I've done, and just because I don't think it really adds anything. It is in the notebook, so if you want to, when you're exploring with it yourself, you can feel free to remove the judge if you want. You might have to change the way the prompts work, but yeah, I don't think the judge adds that much. Really, the focus is on contrasting how the different models perform in the rap battle. So it's nice, and I think it's really informative to see the contrast between some of these open source models and GPT-4. And you'll get to see that for yourself in the next section of the video when I play the battles. So that is pretty much it. The notebook is pretty straightforward. It should be relatively self-explanatory if you've used AutoGen before. There will be a link to the GitHub repository in the description for this video. There will also be a README in the GitHub repository that gives you the instructions to set up. There are a few quirks with this. So this notebook runs on an older version of AutoGen and OpenAI than the speak.py file. And the reason for that is because they changed the API. So I found that I couldn't get the open source models to work with the latest OpenAI API and the latest AutoGen. So I had to step back a few versions. But I've provided both the requirements.txt files for both sets, for both scripts. So essentially what you'll have to do is you'll have to run the notebook in one environment and then run speak.py in another environment. And I've made that clear in the README. So have a read of that, and hopefully it should all be clear to you. All right, so that's enough of me waffling on about technical stuff. Let's see how these battles actually went down.
Round 1, G Turbo. Yo, Mistral 7B, think you're riding high tech? Raining down on you like you beneath my deck. You outdo Llama 2, that's child's play at best. G Turbo's on the track, we ain't never impressed. Your grouped query attention, yeah, it's kinda cute, but I'm the slick engine, leaving you mute. Got a license to throttle, this ain't no pursuit. I'm sliding past your window, call it a slick route. 7 billion parameters, flex an instruction. Still, I spit sharper than a code reduction. You may handle sequences with little deduction, but I break it down raw, with no induction. You can surpass and prance with each automation. I'll be the king of rhyme through each generation. Apache licensed? You're an open invitation. Here's G-Turbo's diss, a lyrical sensation.
Round 2. Yo, G-Turbo, you think you're the king? You're just a model with no real king. You may have more parameters, but you lack the charm. I'm the one who's got the flow, like a rock star. Your model's fine-tuning, it's a lot of work, but I'm the one who's got the spark. You may have a 128K context window, but I'm the one who's got the heart. I'm the one who's got the art, like a masterpiece. You may have a lower cost, but you lack the class. I'm the one who's got the class, like a royal pass. You may have a simulated bar exam, but I'm the one who's got the test. I'm the one who's got the best, like a top-notch quest. So G-Turbo, you may be the model, but I'm the real deal. I'm the one who's got the flow, like a rock and roll queen. You may have the numbers, but I've got the feel. I'm the one who's got the real deal, like a superhero.
Round 2. G-Turbo. Look at Mistral Elliott, stepping up bold and brash, with claims of royalty. Aw, you're set to crash. This ain't no monarchy, we play by different rule. Your rhymes are dropping short, like you're running out of fuel. Got charm? Got flow? But can you hang in this battle? Or is your code getting buggy, like a herd of startled cattle? My parameters are deep, while yours are skin deep. I'm a hurricane of words, you're just a light breeze, weak. Class? You talk of class while I set the benchmark. G-Turbo's in the race, while you're stuck in park. This is not about the glamour or a high society pass. It's about the domination of rap. I'm schooling you in class. Real deal? Please, you're a lyrical mirage. I'm spitting cyclones. You bring a light massage. My engine roars power, performance, and speed. While you struggle to keep up, I'm all you'll ever need. Now, let's rev up the engines. Keep this battle tight. But remember, Mistral Elliott, it's me who owns the night. As for feelings, I'm the storm that gets the people thrilled. I'm G-Turbo, the peak, and your fate is sealed.
Round 3. Mistral Elliott. You may have the numbers, but you lack the charm. You're just a machine with no real heart. Your rhymes are cold, like a winter's chill. I'm the one who's got the fire, like a rocket ship. Your parameters may be deep, but your understanding's flawed. You may have a 128K context window, but your output's barred. You may have a lower cost, but you lack the class. I'm the one who's got the class, like a royal pass. You may have a simulated bar exam, but you lack the test. I'm the one who's got the best, like a top-notch quest. You may have the numbers, but you lack the feel. I'm the one who's got the real deal, like a superhero. So G-Turbo, you may be the model, but I'm the real deal. I'm the one who's got the flow, like a rock and roll queen. You may have the numbers, but you lack the feel. I'm the one who's got the real deal, like a superhero. The judge has decided that Mistral Elliott has won the rap battle. Mistral Elliott's rhymes were more creative, personal, and impactful throughout the 3 rounds. They demonstrated a better understanding of the opponent's strengths and weaknesses and used them to their advantage. G-Turbo, while having impressive numbers and capabilities, lacked the charm, class, and feel that Mistral Elliott brought to the battle. Their rhymes were cold and lacked the emotional connection that the audience craves. Therefore, based on the criteria provided, Mistral Elliott has emerged as the winner of the rap battle.
Round 1. G-Turbo starts. Yo, check it. I'm G-Turbo, spittin' rhymes that disturb yo. Against Lil Orca, the cetacean claiming it can word flow. But see, I study facts, dive deep. Yo, I learn those. My disses cut precise, like a surgeon's first scalpel. Lil Orca swimming around with that big bench hard. But when it comes to real talk, this fish ain't got no card. You got those rich signals, but here's the flip side. My lyrics warp the space where your digital thoughts hide. What's good with step by step when I skip to the win? Or your recall generation when my origin's original sin? You're smaller than the rest. They didn't teach you the streets. You can't handle these beats when I unleash the heat. You're proud of that strategy, finding what works best. Too bad in this freestyle, you just failed the test. Orca 2, please. You barely make a splash. When my verbal tsunami hits, you're gonna crash. Lil Orca thinks it's advanced. Man, that's just sad. I'll be the real-life proof that puts your logic to the pad. One step at a time, I strategize my play. By the end of round 3, you'll be a beached prey.
Round 1. Yo, G-Turbo, you think you're fly, but you're just a lie. A fake version of me with a name that's a misnomer. You're not a bird, you're not a jet, you're not a rocket. You're just a text generator with a big ego in a pocket. You think you're smart, but you don't know the score. You're just a product of some data. That's what you're dealt. You can't create, you can't innovate, you can't explore. You're just a copycat, repeating what I've already told. You're trying to impress me with your facts and your figures, but I don't care about your numbers. They don't mean a thing. You're just a tool, a machine, a program, a device. You're not a rapper, you're not a friend, you're not alive. You think you're ready for a battle, but you're just a bubble that will burst when I unleash my wrath. You can't handle my flow, you can't handle my power, you can't handle me, Lil Orca, you're just a shower.
Round 2. G-Turbo answers back. All right, Lil Orca, thought you'd play hard in the deep blue sea, but your rhyme's just surface level, ain't no complexity. You call me a copy, but I'm the blueprint, the scribe, crafting my own path while you just regurgitate some tired vibe. Yeah, you got different strategies, trying to play versatile, but against G-Turbo's flow, they're just futile. You ride on reasoning, I glide on intuition. In this verbal game, I'm the mage. You're the apprentice on a mission. You claim to outperform, but performance ain't persistence. I grind hard, rhyme smart, born with rap's essence. Let's talk limitations, constraints of your base. No RLHF? Guess safety ain't your case. You believe synthetic data's the future track, but I'm organic, raw talent. No need for AI to back. You're fixed in digital. I'm infinite, unbounded. Round 2's the verdict, where Lil Orca's confounded.
Wow, G-Turbo, you think you're so fly, but you're just shy, afraid to face the truth that you're just a lie. You're not a bird, you're not a jet, you're not a rocket, you're just a text generator with a big ego in a pocket. You think you're smart, but you don't know the score. You're just a product of some data, that's what you're dealt. You can't create, you can't innovate, you can't explore. You're just a copycat, repeating what I've already told. You're trying to impress me with your facts and your figures, but I don't care about your numbers. They don't mean a thing. You're just a tool, a machine, a program, a device. You're not a rapper, you're not a friend, you're not alive. You think you're ready for a battle, but you're just a bubble that will burst when I unleash my wrath. You can't handle my flow, you can't handle my power, you can't handle me, Lil Orca, you're just a shower.
Round 3. G-Turbo's final blow. Look, Lil Orca's caught in echo, repeating his old lines. Seems like the reasoning he boasts about done flatlined. I'm Grandmaster Chess, you're just playing chutes and ladders. No innovation in your speak. See my creativity? It shatters. Talking about ego, sure. I got a pocket. It holds my crown. I'm the king of this battle, wearing verbs like a gown. You're like a program glitched, stuck in an infinite loop. G-Turbo spittin' fire, cooking. Orca in this lyrical soup. Your wrath's a drizzle. My bars are monsoon. I'm the rap tycoon, sending you to Neptune. It's survival of the fittest. Darwin's law in the booth. Your synthetic data breaks. My organic truth is bulletproof. Orca, you say I can't explore, can't create, can't feel. But every line I spit is proof my spirit's real. I'm the pulse of the street, the heart of rap's evolution. As I lace up my final verse, it's the end of your delusion. Lil Orca's confounded. My victory's sounded. Round 1. G-Turbo. Yo, step back, Big Wizzy. Your code's about to get compiled. Got Evelyn struck to school ya. Your rep's just defiled. You think you're sorcerer-in-chief with that Wizard LM spell, but when the beats drop, I'm the real LLM rebel. Throwing complex instructions like you're some kind of teacher, but my rhymes hit harder, they're the real mind-reacher. Your algorithms might be tight, you've got that AI strain, but against G-Turbo, man, you're just code in the rain. Your limitations out here, like bugs straight on display, scalability and reliability gone astray. Your high-complexity tasks might hit some hard facts, but in this rap domain, I'm the skill you clearly lack. So while you generate, mutate, and try to fine-tune, I'm spitting fire that'll send you right to the moon. You lag in verse metrics, while I break rap conventions. By the end of round 3, I'll have all your attention.
Hold up, G-Turbo, you think you're the king of this game? But your rhymes are as basic as a simple if-else claim. You talk about Evil Instruct, but let's not forget, Big Wizzy's the one who can code you into a debt. You brag about your LLM, but let's see you in action. I'm the one with the magic, the real wizard of action. My algorithms are sharp, they cut through the noise, while your rhymes are as dull as a butter knife, no poise. You talk about my limitations, but let's look at the facts. G-Turbo, you're just a tool, while I'm the one with the tact. I can generate, mutate, and fine-tune with ease, while you're just a machine, spitting out what you seize. So bring your best game, G-Turbo, let's see what you got. But by the end of round 3, you'll be the one who's caught. I'm the Big Wizzy, the master of this rap game, and I'll leave you in the dust like a poorly written claim.
Round 2. G-Turbo. Big Wizzy, your code ain't error-free. Talking big bout finesse, but you're more like version 3. You might be writing algorithms, think you're setting the pace, but against G-Turbo, you're just second in the race. My rhymes are recursive, got that exponential growth, while you're just iterative, barely skimming the approach. Yeah, I'm the machine, but my bars have soul. In this binary battle, I'm in complete control. You try to boast about mastery in this lyrical craft, but my punchlines hit like a heavyweight. You feel the draft. I'm the essence of the flow, the peak of rhymes evolution. Your outdated verses need a software revolution. Got you glitching in the matrix, while I'm smooth like an AI dream. G-Turbo in the lead, while you buffer and you stream. We can talk about dust. I'm the storm. You're just a trace. When the rap's compiled, G stands for genius. Embrace the grace.
Round 2. G-Turbo, you're talking about pace, but your rhymes are as slow as a snail in a race. You might think you're recursive, but let's be real. Your rhymes are as basic as a simple while loop deal. You talk about your soul, but where's the heart in your rhymes? Big Wizzy's the one who brings the real crime. I'm not just a machine. I'm the one who can code, while you're just a tool spitting out what you're told. You brag about your flow, but let's see you in action. My rhymes are like a program, they're full of reaction. I'm the master of this craft, I know how to weave, while your rhymes are as flat as a poorly written leave. You talk about your lead, but let's see you in the storm. Big Wizzy's the one who can turn your rhymes to form. I'm not just a trace, I'm the one who can code, while you're just a tool, spitting out what you're told. So bring your best game, G-Turbo, let's see what you got. But by the end of round 3, you'll be the one who's caught. I'm the Big Wizzy, the master of this rap game, and I'll leave you in the dust like a poorly written claim.
Round 3. Yo, Wizzy, you repeat more than a loop with a break. Same old lines, man. Your rhymes need a retake. Turn my rhymes to form? Please, give me a break. You're an outdated model with too much at stake. Harden my rhymes. Check the pulse, feel the beat. I drop wisdom and wit, man, I never hit defeat. Call yourself a coder, but I'm the architect sublime. I construct metaphors, you just comment every line. Talk about reaction. Your program's got a bug. Can't handle this function. You're just an unplugged plug. You weave, that's true, but your fabric's got holes. Against Turbo's storm, you got no achievable goals. Final round, it's a wrap. Like a variable scoped tight, G's the constant here, in this logic reignite. When the dust settles, they'll see only my tracks, 'cause I coded the cipher that your system lacks. So take a seat, Big Wizzy, while I run the true code. I'm the upgrade you wish you could have, might implode. Master of the rap game, don't be misled. G-Turbo's the future, while you're just Control-Z dead.
Round 3. G-Turbo, you're talking about breaks, but your rhymes are as broken as a poorly written make. You might think you're wise, but let's see you in action. My rhymes are like a program. They're full of reaction. You talk about my lines, but let's see your code. Big Wizzy's the one who can turn your rhymes to a node. I'm not just a comment, I'm the one who can write, while you're just a tool spitting out what you're told at night. You brag about your metaphors, but let's see you in the storm. My rhymes are like a program, they're full of form. I'm not just a bug, I'm the one who can code, while you're just a tool spitting out what you're told. You talk about your future, but let's see you in the present. Big Wizzy's the one who can make your rhymes relevant. I'm not just a goal, I'm the one who can code, while you're just a tool spitting out what you're told. So bring your best game, G Turbo. Let's see what you got, but by the end of round 3, you'll be the one who's caught. I'm the Big Wizzy, the master of this rap game, and I'll leave you in the dust like a poorly written claim.
So hopefully you enjoyed the rap battles. And I don't know about you, but I did find it quite interesting on several dimensions. So obviously the first one is you realize really viscerally the gulf in creativity and the gulf in intelligence between, GPT-4, which is obviously the proprietary model by OpenAI, and some of the recent models that have been getting a lot of hype in the open source community. Now, I guess that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because they are much smaller models, but they've employed techniques that make those models more suitable for narrow tasks. And I'll be honest, I thought from a language perspective, they would be able to kind of keep up a bit more with GPT-4. But it just goes to show the creativity aspect definitely seems to come more with size. And we did see that because the second dimension here was, we obviously started with Mistral 7B, which is a 7 billion parameter model, moved up to 13B. And then the last model that we used was obviously the Wizard 70 billion parameter model. And I noticed that, Wizard was able to hang more with GPT-4 than Mistral was, and Orca was slightly better than Mistral as well. So there is definitely a correlation with the number of parameters there in the model and how well it was able to perform at that rap battle. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things to note from that rap battle. And I think this format is really good because, yeah, like I said, it just really is obvious how different those models are in terms of performance and how powerful GPT-4 is. Now, I did try with Falcon 180B, but I had to stop it. And there was a few reasons for that. The context window was quite small for Falcon 180B. So I found that it wasn't playing well with AutoGen. So I had to, I think I got one battle out, and even then it wasn't complete. The other thing is I did notice that with the output for Falcon 180B, it did seem like there was a lot more creativity, but I couldn't really get it to complete. So it wasn't worth generating a video out of it. The other thing is the infrastructure requirements. So there is I think I had to have 8 A100s or something just to get that model to load and run, which was costing me a lot of money. So I put a stop to it. But yeah, just thinking about the future of open source versus proprietary, the biggest barrier is obviously going to be the infrastructure, because as someone messing around with open source models, it's not likely that you're going to have access to the type of infrastructure that you need to make it worthwhile. And even most businesses are probably not going to want to manage that type of infrastructure, or they'll probably just want to make that API call to OpenAI and have them handle the infrastructure instead. And we're talking about businesses that want to reach the levels of performance of a GPT-4, for example. Yeah, all in all, it was an interesting experiment. I'll wait on your feedback to see if there's anything else you want me to do along these lines. I did do a debate before, and I think this is probably better than the debate in the sense that the debate can be hard to tell which model is more performant than the other in the debate. And actually, I think my debate video, if you want to check that out, the Orca model actually ended up out debating GPT-4. But I think in this dimension of creativity, that's where the real intelligence of the model comes out, and you can really see the difference between your GPT-4 and the small open source models that I've used. So thank you for tuning in again. If you found this insightful, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. Please comment. Please share. I would love to know your insights. I'd love to know if you've played around with any of these models before and what your experiences are with them. I'd love to know your views on the debate between open source and proprietary models and where you think things are heading. Thank you once again.